Let's hear it.
Welcome to another episode of the Minority Report podcast. Minorities Report podcast. Look at me fucking up. My name is Antonio Alcazar.
And I'm Tech Wabi Na Solat Eto Arat Nor.
She says Nosferatu.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know.
Yeah, because Sam Raimi is an incredible director.
I'm glad you said that.
That he's an incredible director.
Here we go. 1987 Evil Dead 2. More importantly, this is the kickoff of our yearly Halloween extravaganza.
Yeah, welcome to October, everybody.
What do you guys call it in Mexico, right? Day of the Dead? That's not actually Halloween, though, right?
One, it's not Halloween.
Right.
Two, it's not in October.
It's in November, right?
It's in November.
Yeah. But it's like, it's the same kind of celebration. It's a lot of like trick-or-treating and la 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 la.
Yikes. Jesus
like that, right?
Christ. No, that is not at all. Man, I find it harder and harder to not be offended by you. It is a celebration of the dead.
Right.
But there's no trick-or-treating and there's no dressing up.
Dude, here's the thing. Yeah. When it comes to Halloween, we're the only place that even does trick-or-treating.
Like around the world.
Yeah, no way. I listened to a podcast from Australia, and they were talking about how, like, what the fuck are people going to get candy for and shit like that? Like, that's not, like, that's
I guess
not
that was like an early colonies thing, right? A 13 colonies thing? Like an old Massachusetts, New England kind of tradition?
And like most things American, we fucking have to overdo everything, so.
Well, I mean, that's just how culture goes, you know? Sure. Like, a culture, unless you, like, are a culture that really sticks to like the traditional way of doing things. Yeah. It always just evolves. It continues to get bigger and bigger and bigger. But no, Mexican Day of the Dead is not Halloween.
So we are in our Halloween special.
Yes, we are.
We are covering today Evil Dead 2.
One of 7 episodes you are getting from us this fucking month.
This is outrageous, bro.
I can't even fucking believe this. Like, honestly, I'm inundated.
Well, wait a second, though.
Yeah.
How would they get 7 episodes?
Oh, so you're actually you're only getting 2 episodes for free. Three?
Yeah, because it's special.
Oh yeah, that's right. You're getting 3 episodes on the regular show, and then you are getting 4 more episodes on Patreon this month. Because we are doing Lamb, we're doing Dune, we're doing Halloween Kills. And
with Halloween as well. So that's like where the 4th.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's 7 movies. It's 6 episodes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for sure. All right.
In Lamb, there could be a chance Lamb might rolls over into November, but either way, you're going to be getting all that kind of shit.
You know,
we're going to do it.
Yeah.
We're going to do it. Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to do Lamb because it's an A24 movie and it's horror.
Yeah.
So that just seems right up the alley of this this month.
I am turning slowly but surely. I am turning Antonio into an A24 fan.
You know, I actually have not seen an A24 movie that I haven't thought this is the best modern cinema I think I've been watching. Yeah. So like now, a caveat, I've only watched Hereditary, right? Yeah. That's A24. Yep. And I've watched Green Knight.
Yep.
And maybe 1 or 2 other ones, and we're watching Witch this month. But like, there is a
Lighthouse you've watched.
Lighthouse, yeah, that's right. There is a style to these movies that I think is really approaching or has approached the edge of modern storytelling. Now, that's not to say that I don't think it can get better. Obviously, I feel like it's an evolving medium, but I feel like they are at the edge of it. They're at the forefront.
I would agree.
And so, yeah, I enjoy all these movies. Unfortunately, most of these movies are in the unsettling...
Yeah, they don't do action hero movies and stuff like that.
No, they're almost all of them are just horror movies.
Either horror or at least situation horror.
Yeah,
like that.
Some kind of like scary ambiance, you know, because even Green Knight...
Unsettling.
I wouldn't say Green Knight was horror. I know we disagreed on that a little bit, but like, I'd still say it was an unsettling ambiance.
I didn't call it horror, I call it fantasy horror.
Sure.
So fantasy first, horror second. It had the feel, the dread of a horror movie, but in a fantasy setting. So that's how, because it was way more tense than any fantasy movie I've ever watched besides that. So
yeah, and that's a 100% a thing that I agree with. That's why I'm just that scary ambiance was there.
Yeah,
and I almost wish that the A24 would do anything other than this. Yeah, because like I'd love to see this level of filmmaking in any other genre, even
Sure.
if you just give me like a drama, like I don't necessarily need anything action. But
we're coming at you hard this month, though.
Yeah, we are.
So, Sam Raimi, Bruce Campbell, names that are well known now, but certainly were not well known at this point in time. We are looking at 1987, and I'm going to start off with some background talk. Usually I hit you at the end with some background talk, but I'm jumping off with some background talk because somebody might ask, why are you covering Evil Dead 2 rather than The Evil Dead?
We've been asked this a lot.
Of course. It's a sequel of sorts, but it really isn't a sequel at all, and that's important. The Evil Dead came out as Raimi's first project, actually, his first solo project. After he finished the original The Evil Dead, he started to make what became Army of Darkness, actually, and at the time, everyone passed on that film. And
on Army of Darkness?
Yes, on Army of Darkness.
Okay.
And
this isn't Army of Darkness.
Correct. So he went on to make a movie called Crime Wave, which is it's like a comedy horror film. It's actually directed by Raimi and written by the Coen brothers.
Okay.
So it's good stock. I would definitely say that.
Yeah.
So the first Evil Dead film, importantly, is almost scene to scene the same as this movie we watched today. So it is ridiculously similar. Same cabin that they go to, same kind of cast of characters, person locked up in the fruit cellar, evil deadites awaken, etc., etc., etc. So I feel that this is the better version of that film, and most people feel the same when it comes to that. Importantly, though, when that original came out, horror people that matter were like, this guy knows what he's doing. Sam Raimi,
like other directors,
clearly knows what. And in particular, Stephen King was like, this is the shit. This guy can make good stuff. And he was friends with a guy named Dino Del Laurentiis. He's like an Italian guy. Okay, so I don't know. He's got an Italian last name.
Yeah.
And he was a guy who did a bunch of Stephen King films, actually. So he did what was the first one he did? Maximum Overdrive. Some other things that you haven't seen, of course. But King talked to him, and he was like, "Dude, you got to hook up with this guy. This guy's got some great ideas. He's got some great visions." He could do something great. He just needs more money because the first movie was made on like absolutely nothing. Yeah. But they loved the vision of the movie. So originally Raimi wanted to make a true sequel to The Evil Dead, and he envisioned what became Army of Darkness, which is part 3 of this film series. Importantly, Dino, and King, they wanted him to do something more in line with the original vein. And because not many people saw The Evil Dead, he was basically like, let's just redo that movie.
Like, that's what they want.
Yes, exactly.
They were just like, this movie was good, but you didn't do enough with it because of budgetary reasons.
Yeah.
We want this movie.
And Dino, even then, Dino was kind of like, I don't see this movie happening. I just don't see this. But King kind of talked to him more about it, and he also brought up the idea, while this might not be huge in America, Italy is going to love this movie. And he kind of agreed on that, and they were like, okay, we're going forward. We're going to do this. The Italian market's going to explode with this. This movie, it ended up with, the budget for the film was $3 million on this take, okay?
What was the first budget?
It was like $1 million. It was under $1 million, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And the take home in the U.S. alone, with almost no release whatsoever, it had 300 theaters total release. Okay, $10 million. So
just in the U.S.
and 300 theaters. Importantly,
sure.
So. Yep, that's where we come to this movie, and importantly, this is just a more well-known than The Evil Dead. It's a more, because we always come at these movies as like films you haven't seen, and they're surprising you haven't seen.
Yeah.
The Evil Dead you could have absolutely not seen, no big deal whatsoever.
Sure.
Evil Dead 2 is like the one that everyone kind of points to as like the movie.
That was the more cult classic.
Correct. Exactly. All right, so we jump into this and we get a little history of the Book of the Dead.
Yep.
They kind of give you the rundown.
They hit me with a little world building.
World
which I was just like,
building.
Okay, this is cool. This is
the Necronomicon.
Yeah, like right off the bat. So I had always heard about Sam Raimi. I've never seen a Sam Raimi movie outside of the Sam Raimi Spider-Man. And I know from talking to you and also from, just existing in the world, that Sam Raimi is this long and very lauded director who has done a lot of things that people like, especially in more cult communities.
Yeah.
So when I went into this, I was expecting what I have now come to understand is Sam Raimi's style, which is camp done right, camp done well.
I would agree.
That he doesn't shy away from being campy,
yes,
but that's the point, and he's going to do it as well as anybody's done it so far.
And he has what I call the Raimi shots.
Yeah.
Just like everybody does.
Of course, yeah. He's very specific shots.
They were all over this movie.
That's what a lot of people would talk about when we were talking about the Sam Raimi Spider-Mans, that it's a very Sam Raimi kind of movie, and I had no context for what that was until I saw this movie where I was like, oh, wow.
The shots with, I love the Raimi shots just because they give you this weird claustrophobic feel because he completely drags right into almost the eye of the fucking person and shit like that. And it's very methodical how he does it. And like I say, it's
he definitely has a clear vision. I don't know about methodical.
Sure. That's probably not the right word to use.
Yeah.
It's definitely setting a tone to the film that he's making.
He has a very specific thing he's trying to show you, and he stays consistent with it.
Yes.
And he's stayed consistent with it through every movie I've ever seen, which is interesting. But I guess not interesting, but it's a thing to point out that this guy knows what he's doing as far as what he wants to do.
Yeah.
The intro where they were talking about the Necronomicon and
straight out of Lovecraft.
Yeah, the Book of the Dead and how it was written and stuff. I weirdly did enjoy this scene because even though it was campy, it was the specific kind of world building that I'm into.
Of course.
Now this the thing that I liked was that it didn't give you too much, but it was just this is a magic book that was written in blood about necromancy.
Yes.
And then it was lost. Yep. And I was just dope, you're not going too far with it. I don't have to Google anything. It's just it's not stepping on any toes as far as what I know about history.
It's like the Conan thing that you had a problem with.
Yeah, because Conan gave me too much.
Yes.
Conan was just this is when it happened, and this is what it was all about, and I was just we didn't even have iron at that. There was.
I remember that.
There was too much of There was too much of just if you think about this even for 2 seconds, it's going to sound like
in a movie where a man turns into a snake. He had too much. It was just too much explaining.
Yeah, it was too much.
This couldn't happen because we didn't have iron at that time.
You know what you could do?
We did have people that turned into snakes
easily,
at that time.
Right? You know what we could do easily? Make it up.
That's what they did.
No, he did not. He took an actual period of time and said, this is what it was like, and it jarred the shit out of me. But in this one, didn't give you too much. They were just this is a magic book.
That's like saying, we had space weaponry in the Civil War, and then making a movie about space weaponry in the Civil War. Yeah. And you would have a problem with that because you're historically, we did not have space weaponry in the Civil War.
No, I mean, if we're talking just an alternate universe, okay, I'm fine. But this guy's just this actually happened in our past. And I was fuck you.
All right, so Ash and his girlfriend are headed to the woods, and what
I'm saying is I like this.
Yes.
This was cute.
They get to a cabin.
Yeah.
They jack this cabin from someone they know, basically. He's
from somebody they know?
Yes.
Actually, I was going to bring this up.
Yes.
How does he know about this cabin?
It's through his work. I think somebody is friends with that woman that comes later and whatnot, and that's how he knows about the cabin, and he knows that they're not supposed to. It's very weird that he's there.
Yeah,
I think
he's driving
brings
up to
it
this
up.
cabin,
Yes.
and she's just
he's we're connected to the...
Is it really nice? And he's well, it's a little rundown. So he's been there,
yes.
Or maybe just from word of mouth. But, I didn't super get what was happening. I thought maybe they rented it or whatever it was. But it wasn't until later where it's just what if the people come home? And I'm wait, you don't know whose place this is? You're just here?
Correct.
Okay.
So...
I didn't fault that. I was just weird.
Yeah, it's odd. So they head up to the cabin, and they start to just kind of get settled into the cabin, doing their things. The things you do when you go to a cabin, kind of getting your stuff together.
Yeah, and play the piano. That's what I do when I go to cabins.
That's what I do when I go to cabins. Or play with the rocking chairs, all that kind of shit, So, and Ash is just kind of heading around, and he gets into a little study, which is weird that you point out that he's been there before, but like he's not, I don't know, very, very weird because it seems like it's the first time he's been there when he's walking around.
Yeah.
But okay. So anyways, they see a tape recording on the bench and
he does.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah, because she's like changing or something.
Yes. Ash sees a tape recording
he's
on the
trying to
bench.
get on with her, and she's kind of like,
Not yet.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not in the mood yet.
Yeah.
So Ash
And then he's just like, okay, let's drink.
I want to point out too, like Ash to me is a very likable character right off the bat. Like just his mannerisms, the way he carries himself, very normal sort of dude. That's just like I enjoy this character.
I don't like him.
Good. So I expect you not to.
No.
You're very soft man.
I didn't.
He's a man's man. You're the opposite of
exactly. So like when I was watching this, I didn't think he's an unlikable character. I didn't dislike him.
We're gonna have a problem later on.
I just thought that he was like, oh, whatever, dude. I wasn't like, oh man, he's a cool dude. He's like a man's man. I was just like, okay, this is just some fucking.
We're gonna
He's a meathead.
Oh.
Do you like that?
I'd say the opposite is true. Okay. So he goes to check out this tape recorder, and he's just like, I'm just going to press play on this thing, which plenty of people would do. Like, I'm going to check out what's on this tape recorder.
Yeah, I would do that.
Yeah. Or like it's how you get drawn into the ring, right? Because you're like, yeah, what's on this tape? Let me put it in. Well, this is a fucking weird tape.
Listen, if I end up here in this situation,
yes,
I'm hitting play.
Yes, of course. Right, exactly. So, Professor Raymond Nobley is, he's a fucking idiot. I'm just going to point that out.
Well,
the professor.
Like, okay. Yes.
Yes.
But here's why it didn't break my suspension of disbelief.
Right.
Because early explorers were phenomenally arrogant and ignorant to culture and consequence.
Absolutely.
Because they lived life with no culture and no consequence.
Exactly.
Their culture was just to destroy everything in their path and take it home with them.
It's, to me, like, I don't have a problem with this. I want to point that out. Like, I don't have a problem with this at all.
Any problem with this.
But it's fucking idiotic. You're like, I have this Book of the Dead.
Yeah, I have a book that I know is the Book of the Dead.
Which has rumors that...
No, I'm reading of what it's going to do.
Yes.
I'm going to just say the words.
I'm going to give you the passage read out loud now.
Also, not only am I going to say the words, I'm going to record the words.
Yes.
Just in case anybody want to listen.
Rewind it right before I finish recording.
With hey, by the way, if you're reading this, or if you're listening to this, maybe pause this because I'm about to say some nasty shit. No. I'm just going to say it.
What's more... Because we know what comes later, it makes it even worse that he just left this like this because he knows what happens later on.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's not
That's
like
recorded
this is
later.
Where it stops.
Right.
Later on, he's just like, oh, all this shit happened. My dude, burn the tape.
Yes. So, the spirits of the woods are resurrected when these words are said.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
The spirits of the woods are resurrected? I thought he was like... evoking a demon that is now in the woods. I didn't know that it was
it's like these demonic spirits that are in the woods. In those woods. And they get res to life, and then he hears a scream, and Linda is gone.
Now, I like these shots, too, because they aren't pulling any punches. Actually, that's one of the things about this movie that I was trying to fault it for this the whole time.
Yeah.
Because I go into these movies, especially now, wanting to shit on them.
Of course.
I go into these movies now the way that I go into stand-up comedy. I don't want to like it.
Yeah.
If you can make me like it even when I don't want to like it, then you're a fucking good stand-up.
Yeah.
Same thing with these movies. I want to go into them and just shit all over them.
I feel like...
I just assume, this is what I assume, that they're all trash. And you know why I assume that? Because you like them.
Not only that, I feel like I feel like it's going to become worse now because of our Gen Con trip and Paul being like flabbergasted that you didn't like every single one of these movies and him just being like so frustrated with you that you didn't like every single one of these movies and shit.
And so when I was watching this, one of the things that I liked was how scary and like aggressive that spirit felt because it just goes right through the fucking window. Like it's not like skulking around and like for ambience or whatever. It just smashes through the window and possesses her. I was like, oh, okay.
She's
we're
gone.
up. Yeah.
He's like, what the fuck? The spirit comes, possesses him then too, and he's like fucking going
I really
all over
like
and shit like
scene,
that.
Too.
Yeah.
Okay, so we skipped over the fact that he chopped Sir fucking
Way later. That comes
No, that
way.
happens right there. Before he gets possessed.
No. You are way ahead.
No.
I.
This is what happens.
So
right?
you can edit this.
I'm not going to edit this.
I have it exactly written out as it comes.
This is how it happens, right? She gets possessed.
Yep.
They go outside.
Yep.
She attacks her. He attacks him. He chops off her head. Then he buries her, puts the thing in the ground. Then the spirit comes, grabs him, throws him into the tree, and then he wakes up in the daytime. And then he doesn't. And then the demon possesses or leaves him. That's how it happens. I saw it with my eyes.
So here's what happens. Linda is gone, dude. And he goes out there and Linda attacks him.
Yes.
And he chops off Linda's head.
Yes.
Buries Linda.
Yes.
Makes a little cross.
Yep.
All in a very Raimi style.
Dude,
all this is done is super Raimi.
When he the cross, I was just like, dude, he is laying it on thick. Now at this point, I'm thinking too thick, Raimi.
Okay.
Too thick.
Sure. So, and then the spirits come back, possess him now. Yeah. They get him all over the place.
Dude, I love that scene too, where he's just like flying through the air.
Yeah.
I'm just like, damn, dude, he got by that demon.
He fucking hits a tree.
Yeah.
Gets knocked out into some water puddle.
Really hits the tree. And and he's underneath the water. Yeah. And I'm just like, so he's dead then. And all the bubbles.
Yeah.
I was actually thinking, how did they film this scene? Did they have like a hose underneath there? Because you saw the body hit.
Yeah.
And like, he was there for a long time, you know, and there was a lot of bubbles. I was
worried.
Wondered. No. I was wondered by the technicality of how they shot this.
Interesting. So he and then he wakes up and he does what any smart fucking person would do. Get the fuck out of there. So he jumps in his car and he's just like, I'm fucking out of here. Heads down the trail, gets to the fucking bridge. Bridge is exploded, basically. It's just fucking completely cartoon toned up, right? Yeah. And he's like, no.
All of that
I
stuff,
fucking love it so
all
much.
of that stuff took some getting used to, my dude. Because there was like, I am not known to like campy shit. Sure. I just don't like it. It's never been my taste.
Sure.
And I'll be honest with you, I didn't like it because I had never seen anybody do it in a way that was palatable for me.
Sure.
It was always just like eating fondant. Like I was just like, dude, be more realistic, please. You know, like I enjoy realism as often as I can get it.
No, thank you. So then he's like, all right, well, fuck, what am I going to do now? And then the spirit comes back, and then he gets back in his car, races back to the house.
Yeah, it chases him. Yes. I fucking love that. Yeah.
And then we cut away from him at this point in time.
Is this where it's chasing him around the house?
It's chasing him back into the house.
Yeah, and then it chases him around the house.
Yeah.
I love that scene.
Yeah. No, it's
like it was so like the choreography seemed like it was fucking insane because he was like right through tight spaces and stuff, and I just imagined the camera guys just chasing the shit out of him. Like I felt claustrophobic, you know, like what you were saying, and I also felt the immediacy of that danger because it was
right
like
behind
on
him.
his fucking neck.
Yeah,
I was so impressed with how they were doing that, how they shot that.
From there, we pause away from Ash for a minute, and then we head over and meet the daughter of this Raymond, whatever the fuck his last name is.
Yeah, for sure.
And
she gets off of the airplane.
She gets off the airplane
with her sweater hanging around her
and meets a guy, friend of hers or whatever. And she's like, "Yeah, hey, my dad, you know, he translated a bunch of the Book of the Dead, so I think we've got some real progress going here." So
she's like, "What is it?" You know, like real excited. And she's like, "He might have opened a portal to a different dimension." I was like, "Oh shit, why are you excited about that?"
Well,
it's the Book of the fucking Dead.
You know.
If it was like the Book of the Unicorns, I'd be like, "Oh, I wonder where this portal goes." If it's the Book of the Dead, don't open portals.
Yeah,
you know?
I'll say this: that's some no offense to plenty of our friends, that's certainly some white people shit, bro. Because like I'm gonna tell you what, Mexicans and black people, we ain't doing that shit.
Dude,
like maybe like but those aren't really black. I was gonna say like maybe like Egyptian type of people, you know. but like, especially like, Stargate version of Egyptian people.
Sure, yeah, but that was written by white people.
That's true too.
So they assume everybody's just
because that's like those like the more white Egyptian type, like way up north type of Egyptian people.
I don't think that's how that works. But.
Oh, okay, but yeah, black people, dude, we don't even touch Ouija boards, bro. Like that shit ain't.
Dude, I'm not trying to play around with any of it.
Nah, we don't fuck.
And they're just like, let's open up a portal from the Book of the Dead.
Hey man, okay. It is what it is, bro. Lost Ark and all that shit, man. Turn away. So we head back over to Ash. Ash is doing his shit. He's just kind of chilling.
He's sitting in a fucking rocking chair.
Yeah, and here's some music playing. There's just music.
Hallucinating to shit.
Right. Wakes up and he looks outside and he's like, holy shit.
Yeah.
His girlfriend is dancing around and shit.
Comes out of the fucking ground. Oh, man. Yeah, and this was the faces, too. Like props to the studio department for making some ugly fucking monsters in this fucking thing, dude. All of the real horrific mutated faces and stuff. Jesus, dude.
She is doing her dance and she's going around and she goes up into the woods and shit, and then she pops through the thing and grabs him and starts fucking with hello lover. And it's just all fucked up. And he eventually is like fighting with her and doing all this shit, and then he's like,
she bites his hand.
No. Importantly, he's doing all this shit, and then he just like falls back into the chair, and then he looks, and then actually the wall is like completely normal.
Oh yeah. And he wakes up from his
He's just like,
for sure.
Oh shit, none of that happened. Maybe all of this is a dream. And then the head falls in his lap, and she's like, hello, lover, and then bites the fuck out of his hand. He's like,
And then the most hysterical scene.
Yes.
Him just running around the house,
slamming
the head into anything, dude. That shit was so funny.
Eventually runs it out into the fucking woodshed and shit, puts the head into a vice grip, and he squeezes it. And one of my favorite scenes, just because of how it plays out, when she turns back to human and she's like, please, Ash, please, you swore we'd be together. No! Yes! And your love was a lie. It's like, I laughed out loud when she goes, yes!
And then just chainsaw to face, dude.
Absolute fucking madness, bro.
Yeah, and then the amount of blood. In this movie, the amount of blood, I think, is masterfully done.
Yes.
Just because of how, like, over the top it is.
Right.
Every single time anybody was getting caught up or chopped up or sawed up, it was just like buckets. Gallons of
buckets.
Blood.
Yes, absolutely.
And again, I gotta give props to the prop department again, because like when her head was in the vice grip, it really just looked so natural. Man. And they were working with like 100% practical effects. Like that to me, I was just like, dude, they were trying so hard with this fucking movie,
dude. And then we jump back over to the daughter for a second. She is getting ready to head up to the fucking cabin. She meets some hicks out there. Oh, sorry, I probably shouldn't. I should be more culturally sensitive.
No, you can't be racist against white people.
I should be more culturally sensitive. So we'll say like backwoods people.
Mountain people.
I mean, so anyways, and they're like
hillbillies. I think that's
derogatory?
I think that's the culturally appropriate way.
Okay, if it's wrong, please let us know if there's a better way to talk about Virginians.
If there are any hillbillies listening to this and you don't like
West Virginian people. So if there's a way to refer to West Virginians better than hillbillies, let us know, please.
Wait, is this taking place in West Virginia?
I don't know, but those people were very West Virginian. Okay. Bobby Joe.
Yeah,
so
Bobby Joe.
They and so then they're like, okay,
I don't know if his name was Cletus, but
his name was like Jake.
Oh,
I haven't written it. Yeah, it's Cletus. So they want to go up to the cabin, and Cletus lets them know you ain't getting up to that cabin. That thing is broke. The road is out or whatever. Yeah. And they're like, well, no, we have to go to the cabin. And he's like, gets kind of elbowed by Bobby Joe.
Yeah.
And Cletus is like, oh, you know what? There's a path I can take you on.
Yeah. Cost you $100.
Well, they're like $25, and then she like elbows him $100, and she's like, okay, I'll tell you what, you take my bags, you got a deal, and he's all about it, and of course he doesn't know that there's gonna be a ton of shit. Sure. So jump back over to Ash, and absolute madness is happening at this point in time. Like he's just fucking all over the place, and
because his hand is possessed.
Yes,
his hand got bit. His hand's possessed, and so he's fighting against his hand.
Yes.
And it is madness because the hand is just picking up every
smashing
dish,
it. Yes.
every single thing in the house, and it's just smashing it over his head.
Yep.
And after about 5 minutes of this, he's on the ground, still in the vicinity of things that
Yes.
can get smashed on his head, and he's like almost blacked out.
Yes.
And I loved the acting here because it was just this dude hitting himself.
Yes.
With everything around him, and like really just like acting like he was getting fucked up, but just slamming shit on his head.
Right.
Fuck, I don't know, man. The performance.
And then eventually, like, the hand is, like, crawling and shit when he's, like, knocked, like, pretending to be knocked out.
Yeah.
And then he stabs it. And then he cuts off his hand. And then he puts it in a bucket. But the hand breaks out, and it starts taunting him and shit. And it eventually gets caught in a mouse trap. And he's like, and then the fucking hand flips him off. Fucks with it some more, and then he pulls a shotgun out, and he's like just listening to wait for it, and then boom, he shoots the fucking hand, blood squirts everywhere.
Yeah, and it's a little blood at first, and then buckets.
And at this point, Matt, he's just like completely mad. All the animals are laughing at him and shit like that, and he's just laughing.
Oh,
and it's just everything.
So
is,
he goes
the chair's
crazy.
laughing, right? Yes.
Yeah. So it's not the animals. There is one deer head that just starts like laughing maniacally, and then all of the furniture, everything, and then he starts laughing
ridiculously. Yeah,
dude, this scene was so like this was a nightmare. It was a fucking
drug
perfect trip, dude.
Example of like someone losing their fucking mind.
Yes.
Like on screen, I thought it was great for something like that, man. And it's just the way this scene is shot is so claustrophobic too, because it's the Raimi shit. So it's real extreme close-ups of all the people, all the things laughing and shit like that. Back to him laughing, back to this thing laughing, quick cuts between everything.
Yeah.
And
very manic energy to it. Like it really was a disconcerting fucking energy.
Yes, absolutely. And at this point, he hears something and he like starts blasting. And he hears something else, blasts, and of course, then the door gets kicked in, and it's Cletus jumps him, beats the shit out of him or whatnot.
He
and
hits the girl.
Yes.
Bobby Joe.
Bobby Joe got
nicks
shot.
her,
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
Kind of nicks her or whatever, right? Exactly. So I want to point out, too, this is 30 minutes into this film, man. All this shit has happened 30 fucking minutes into this film.
Yeah, that was one of the things that I noticed as well, how much was happening,
right?
How quickly it was happening. This movie did not feel like it was an hour and 20 minutes or an hour and 30 minutes.
So they beat the shit out of Ash, and they're like, all right, where are my parents?
Into the basement.
Right, and they look at the chainsaw, and there's blood all over the place. And he, this son of a bitch killed my parents, or whatever. So they're let's throw him in the fruit cellar. So they kick him in the face and throw him down the fruit cellar. He's trying to explain himself, but of course he can't. He's like, you made a mistake, or whatnot. And so they look all over for the parents at this point. They can't find the parents.
They find a recorder.
They see the recorder, and they're like, let me press play on the recorder. This is Raymond, whatever. Day 14 or whatnot, and I unleashed something terrible on this world. It did something to my sweet Henrietta. I had to kill her. I buried her in the cellar. God help me, my Henrietta. And then
at that moment, she busts out of the fucking floor. Oh my god.
Oh man, and it's awesome. And Ash is like, just the scream Ash gives is great. And she gets up out of that thing, out of the hole, starts coming after Ash. He's screaming and fucking trying to get out of there. And she's like, get me out of here, get me out of here. And they eventually do get him out, of course, and Henrietta comes out. And
that's another one of those super like aggressive, claustrophobic, fucking manic scenes where like
he's like popping through the thing, and then you see his face and all that shit, and the
close-ups of the lock, and you just can't get it. By this point, they have really established this kind of energy to the movie, and so none of it feels like where in other movies it's like chill and chill and chill, and then somebody's fucking up. In this movie, it was always that really heightened manic energy, so it was just like you got moments to, like, sometimes 60 seconds to breathe before they threw you back into the shit.
Yes, absolutely. So then you have Henrietta pops out too, like grabs like fucking Cletus by the face, or I'm sorry, the boyfriend first, throws the boyfriend, then grabs Cletus, starts fucking with Cletus. Ash gets back, slams on the door. He's like jumping on the door to like get her back in. Cletus kicks her right in the face. He laughed out loud when they shoved her back down the fucking hole, and they lock up the fucking thing at this point. Everybody's kind of licking their wounds here and shit, and they're just kind of chilling and like, what are we going to do? You know, we can't get out of here. The fucking spirits are in the woods. And we also have Henrietta here, so we're kind of fucked. You know, how are we going to get out of this? And as they're just kind of chilling and trying to regain themselves, Henrietta's like back to her human form. And she, hush, little baby, don't say a word.
And then she's kind of buying it. Like, the daughter's kind of buying it, and then just like
Ash
snaps
just,
out of it.
No, right, no. She's getting ready. She's like, starts walking, and Ash grabs her by the arm.
No.
Just shakes his head. And then she realizes, she's like, that thing isn't my mother.
And then the boyfriend,
he's possessed at this point.
Yeah.
And so he's
flying up into the sky. All
right, exactly. And she goes back to Henrietta, the normal one, and they're like, we are the things from behind the walls. We want what you have. Life. Dead by dead. Dead by dead. Dead by dawn. And they're all like the possessed sort of thing. Freaky shit's just happening. They have to fight with the fucking the boyfriend, throws Ash, starts to try to go get the fucking
picks up Cletus.
Yes.
And like drops him on his
that's
fucking
right.
head.
Yeah.
And I was
pulls
just
a
like,
WWE move on him.
I was like, Cletus is dead.
Yes.
That's where I thought he died.
Cletus is pretty much fucked at that point. Yeah. So they but Ash goes and grabs the axe right before he can fucking unlock the lock and just chops the shit out of the boyfriend, and
green blood
everywhere, bro.
Green blood for the first time too.
Yes. Well, it's demon blood, so you know, whatever. Okay. As they're trying to figure out what to do, they go into the back room and they see an apparition of that doctor, her dad.
Yeah.
And the doctor explains what's going on, and he explains how to defeat them. You need the Book of the Dead.
Yep.
And you basically
need those pages that you brought.
Yes, exactly.
They've got an incantation for making it physical form.
Yes.
To bring it into the material plane.
Correct.
And then a second incantation to open up a portal to like a different, whatever place.
Yes.
And then it'll just banish it to there.
Exactly. That's what they're planning on doing at this point in time. And it's not going to be pretty to get this done. So at this point, though...
So Bobby Joe runs away at some point.
So she runs out into the forest, and things do not go well for her. And the tree spirit takes her and just fucking
she runs.
Destroys
she's like
her
booking through the fucking forest.
Yep.
And the tree just grabs her.
Yep.
And,
yeah,
takes her. We never see her again.
Right.
So, like, that's it for her.
Absolutely. And she goes into the tree, actually. She gets dragged into the tree. Yeah. Jake freaks out, and he's like, we're going to go get her, you flat mouth son of a bitch.
Yeah.
And
takes the papers, throws them into the cellar.
Yes. Starts to go out with them, drags their asses out there, and they've like... I just want to point out, like, I love the scenes here because it's all done with models, and like the trees and shit like that are all modeled, like, miniature models and whatnot. It's just so beautiful, man.
Yeah.
I love that type of shit. That practical model building sort of thing. Maybe that's why I like Warhammer so much. At this point in time, he's screaming for whatever reason, and Bobby Joe, and then Ash is like, "You'll get us all killed" or whatnot, and then. He's like, fuck you, and hits him in the face with the gun. And he keeps screaming for Bobby Joe. Ash, though, gets possessed at this point in time, jumps back up, and fucks up Jake, dude. Throws Jake, and then, what's her name, runs the fuck away.
Throws him at a tree.
Yes.
And he just hits the tree full force. Like, okay, so that's where Jake dies.
Yep, exactly, right. He is dead again. So...
this is the second time I thought Cletus was dead.
Yes.
Like this guy had like some going power.
Yes. Jake is a piece of shit anyways, though. Cletus can get fucked, dude. And so Ash chases after the daughter, and she runs back into the house, and she's struggling with him to keep his ass out of the house. And she picks up like this weird like knife sort of thing that's like a very demonic sort of
like that weird
knife.
Like bone knife,
yes,
like ceremonial knife.
Yeah, exactly that. So she's creeping around the house trying to figure out where the fuck he's at, where he's going to come in. She hears someone coming through the door, stabs, and of course it's Cletus getting right in his chest.
Sure.
This fucking dumb clown.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy anyway. So, it's funny to me too. She's like, no. She's like so upset.
Like,
she's like,
so
this dude
upset
just tried to fucking kill you.
But also you just murdered murdered a human. So that's just,
Yeah, that's reasonable. And
I'm not looking for reasonableness at this
she
point.
forgets how to close a door because she doesn't realize she has to move his legs out of the door before she can go to the fucking door. Doesn't make me laugh. Gets him out of the way, slams the door on possessed Ash's face, has to drag him to the front room, and he's just like screaming. He's just like, ah! And she's like, shut up! It's just all the fucking man, I love this movie. So they get back into the main front room and they're ready for the standoff. But of course, Henrietta's back and then grabs Cletus, starts to drag him into the thing. And then the daughter's trying to pull on his legs. And this is one of those scenes where just blood fountains fucking everywhere.
That's hysterical too. Where Henrietta just like pulls them in and just eats them, dude.
Starts eating the shit out of them. Right. Yeah. She's freaking out at this point. She turns around, possessed Ash is there, and he body slams him, and then he looks at like this little charm necklace thing that was from his girlfriend.
Yeah, the one that Linda had on.
Yes, exactly. And then he kind of gets back in control of his body and brings himself back to normal.
That's like enough to like expel the demon.
Right,
like
exactly.
The feelings that he's feeling. Love.
Yes, of course.
Love triumphs in that moment.
He regains his composure, and of course, then as soon as he regains his composure, Annie tries to kill him because that makes sense.
Yeah, because that's fair. She's just chopping away, and he's like, "Dude, please knock this off." Yeah,
right. He like gets her, throws the weapon away. He's like, "I'm all right. Damn it, I'm all right."
There was a scene that we skipped to the first time they go into the room with Cletus.
Yeah.
When Cletus is still alive and they are about to do the incantation, they're going over the lost pages.
Yeah.
And they're kind of like looking for where the incantation is.
Yeah.
And they come across a picture of a dude with a thing in his hand and fire in his other hand. And he's just like, oh, this is like the savior of this time period.
Yep. He stopped the Deadites and then
demons. And he's like, well, you didn't do a good job because they're still here. I liked that scene because I didn't know if I was watching the right Evil Dead. Because everything I've ever seen from the Evil Dead is the dude who has the chainsaw hand.
Yep.
And so it wasn't until this moment where I was just like, oh, this is going to be the movie with the dude in the chainsaw hand.
Correct.
Was it the same actors in Evil Dead 1?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, I just wasn't sure. I was just like, I wonder if that's the thing they did in Evil Dead 1 and they're not going to do in this one. Yep. So when I saw that, I was happy. I was like, okay, I finally get to see the movie where this came out.
Right. And so he eventually convinces her that he's back to normal, and he kind of rests and just kind of leans up against the wall, and then she tries to kill him one last time. It's so fucking great, man. Yeah, exactly. And he finally convinces her that he's okay, and they need to get rid of this fucking demon that's here. So
like, okay, let's get
thing to do. Yeah. Go into that fruit cellar.
Yeah, let's burn a witch or kill the witch or kill the
we're gonna kill a witch, but I
forgot what he said.
But first, they're gonna head out to do their montage scene and get their commando preparation scene. Exactly, sure. And badass Ash is born here. Yeah. Groovy.
That was dumb when he said groovy.
I don't think so.
I thought that was really stupid.
I thought it was awesome.
I cringed.
I thought to myself, did this come before or after Duke Nukem? And did Duke Nukem rip this off? Groovy.
Probably. I bet he did.
This came before Duke Nukem, actually. So Duke Nukem ripped this off.
Duke Nukem didn't show up until what, like
91?
Yeah, for sure.
So groovy. There's nothing cringe.
It was the cringiest. It was maybe the only cringe thing that happened in this movie.
You know what it was? Groovy.
It was a departure from how much fun I was having.
That's because you don't like fun. So, anyways,
a lot of fun by this point.
They head down to the fruit cellar and they find the pages. But first, they find Cletus's dead body, which is pretty hilarious.
They find Cletus's dead body, and it takes them a little while to find the pages.
Yes.
And
because it's the Silence of the Lambs basement.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
exactly. Because everybody has a Silence of the Lamb basement when they have to actually get something from it. So they get back, and of course Henrietta shows up. They fight back into the main room. Henrietta's up there at this point.
She like morphs. She like mutates into this horrific
Looney Tunes sort of thing. Yeah, exactly. Sure. Right, exactly. And then they just have like a Looney Tunes sort of fight, and they're going back and forth, and
eventually he chops off both of its arms, chops off its head, and then how does she explode?
And then the head is like let me go. I'll swallow your soul. Swallow your soul. Swallow your soul. Swallow this. Boosh, and shoots. It blows his.
There was a lot of like one-liners like that.
Yep, that are great. And so as they are now the full force of the because she summons the full force.
Yeah, so she grabs the papers, starts to do the thing, and then like evokes it into reality.
Yes.
For step one done.
Just gigantic.
But when
fucking
that
thing.
happens, the forest starts to eat the house alive.
Yes.
Like its tree tentacles are coming through the windows, and then it busts through the door
with a gigantic
and it's just
face.
a gigantic monstrous face.
Yes, and it grabs Ash and it's trying to eat Ash, and Ash is like fighting it back and whatnot.
And then as she's doing the second part of the
almost
evocation,
finished.
The hand comes back
and stabs her with that bone knife in the back. And they get rid of the hand though, and she's able to like just barely get the things
with her
off.
dying breath. She says the last word.
Right, exactly. And then it does suck the demon back through the portal, basically. But also, of course, Ash gets sucked through the portal as well.
Yeah, the car, Ash,
everything goes through the fucking portal and lands in the Middle Ages. And then they're like, holy fuck, this is a Deadite. Kill this fucking thing. But then a real Deadite shows up, and now badass Ash is there.
Points at it.
Blows the head off. He's here. The hero is here. And he's claimed he's hailed the hero.
Happy.
And he not only is he not happy, he's screaming no. Yeah. He's pulling a Darth Vader. No.
He is not enjoying
it. And it's kind of funny to me because this is Raimi like, hey, motherfucker, if we do another one, we're doing it in the Middle Ages this time. You're not going to fuck me again for this. So, yeah, that is not the Evil Dead. Evil Dead 2. So, few things about this guy. Mm-hmm. This thing was a hit, bro.
Yeah.
Rotten Tomatoes, 95%.
Okay.
Average online score for this thing, 7.9 to 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
Metacritic score, 69 out of 100. Yeah. So, however, would you recommend Evil Dead 2?
Yeah, I would. Against my better judgment, I think I would. This movie is a lot of fun. It really just was. It was a lot of fun in a way I don't like to have fun. And that's saying a lot. And I'm saying it's saying a lot because if you're getting somebody to have fun even when they don't want to have this kind of fun, that is some fun that you must be having. And this movie ticks a lot of the check boxes that I normally check when I am watching a movie I hate. And I don't know how he pulled it off, but it really does feel like camp done well. And I think that there's a lot of copycats. There are a lot of people who wish they were executing campy shit as well as this guy did. And I think that there are other people who are said to pull off camp as well as this guy did. And I've seen some of those movies and I just do not agree.
Sure.
But this specifically was done in a way where I went into it going, this is going to be a fucking cringe fest. And I walked away going, that was just fun. That was just a fun time.
Yeah.
It was comedy horror, right?
Yep.
And I was, it took me a little while to realize that this was comedy horror.
Yeah.
Because I never know the genre of what we're watching. I knew that this was vaguely supposed to be a scary.
When did you feel like it finally kicked into you that this was comedy horror rather than just straight horror?
Probably when he was fighting with his hand.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, where I was just like, okay, this is supposed to be a funny thing.
Right.
And then the rest, because I thought it was just supposed to be campy horror.
Sure.
And then I realized, oh no, he's having fun too.
Yeah.
I think that was one of the big things with Gremlins that I just didn't get until too late into the movie.
Sure.
And it was already just like, I was just not having
I got you, yeah.
But I think that after we talked about Gremlins, I'll say Gremlins walked so that Evil Dead 2 could run.
I like that.
I enjoyed this movie as well as I did because I finally understood the other one when we were talking about it. I think that there's something to say about me having grown up specifically at the time that I grew up, because I grew up with very serious movies. I came of age I turned 18 in 2006. And so by then, you already got gritty movies like Batman and Bourne Identity and like the entire...
And more importantly, too, horror movies of that period of time were the reboot of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the reboot of Friday the 13th, the reboot of Nightmare on Elm Street.
Where they were all trying to gritty
real grit sort of horror movies.
The Halloween movie by, what's his name?
Rob Zombie.
Yep. Where he was trying to, like...
Here's what really made Michael Myers.
And like that's the kind of movie that I grew up with and have grown up with. And so I didn't grow up in a time with a lot of camp.
Yeah.
It just didn't exist for me.
That was an 80s thing.
Yeah. And so watching campy shit to me always seemed super dumb and like it was laying it on too thick. This was the first time that I watched a campy movie and I had fun with it.
Awesome.
Which I appreciated. Like I thought this was cool. So yeah, I think this is going to take specific context. If you grew up in my time, in my era, and you don't have a lot of experience with camp in a way that you enjoy, go into it knowing that this is camp and really just try to take it for what it is. I feel like I'm not going to give it a blank check and say, I feel like I get camp now because I still think it's cringe. But I liked this movie, and so there are some ways of doing it right, I think. And this was a proper execution.
This was an example of that.
Yeah, this was it. What do you feel like? Did it hold up or no?
So I definitely went into this movie having a lot of fondness to this film. Ash as a character is just great to me. He's like kind of an idiot Indiana Jones is what I would kind of say. Kind of a makeshift hero similar to like Ripley, where he's not really like supposed to be a hero and he becomes a hero. Of course, he's a lot dumber than Ripley, but that's kind of what the character...
that's where the comedy comes
Right,
in.
exactly. Yeah. And it goes without saying, to me, this movie is brilliant, dude. I especially for the times, like 1987, like it is certainly... Man, I would have to think about it.
It wasn't alien horror.
No, of course not.
Yeah.
But I would have to think about this for a while, but it's probably my favorite comedy horror film. Like, I can't think of one off the top of my head. Like, I like Drag Me to Hell, but Drag Me to Hell is just this more modernized and with a female Ash character. And then there's Ready or Not, which was pretty good. Like, The Babysitter is pretty good. None of those are as good as this film is. It's not. None of them are as fun as this film is because Raimi just knew how to kind of have fun with this in a way like a Peter Jackson would have at the same time and whatnot. And so this is definitely one of those things where I really think it's great, man. Like it definitely held up, and I will definitely watch it again sometime soonish.
They did a remake of this movie recently, right?
They did. And
was it of this movie?
So here's the thing.
Yeah.
It's like a combo of Evil Dead and The Evil Dead, or Evil Dead 2 and The Evil Dead. Like it's in between those two.
That's
but
so
here's
funny.
the thing. Yeah. There's 4 Evil Dead films altogether because of Army of Darkness.
Yeah.
Like every single one of them.
Really?
We'll watch the new Evil Dead next year as our Halloween special because it is. I don't want to say frightening because I don't get scared of movies, but it is hyper realistic.
Really?
It is not like this at all.
Okay.
It's got a couple like
you know what I was watching, because I remember that Evil Dead, the new one, was supposed to be a remake, and when you told me that this was a remake. And it's all been done by the same guy?
The newest one wasn't by Raimi, but it was with support of Raimi, and you can definitely tell in certain scenes.
I really like the idea that they'll remake it again in another 15 or 20 years, and it'll just be the same movie again, and it'll just keep that's the legacy of this movie. It's the movie that just keeps getting remade. I think that'd be great.
Absolutely, brother. And let me ask you, did you ever go up north much when you were younger, or even now, to cabins and things of that nature?
I've never gone up north.
I'll tell you one thing about cabins, going up north in general. It always reminds me of good food, dude. And that eyeball getting shot in the mouth, that's not what I would call good food. But home cooked meals, delicious. And so next week, here's what I would do. Get yourself a nice plate of ribs or whatever the meat is of your choice, and join us with that live plate as we go live with Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
What the fuck does that have to do with cooked meats? We're not going live. Forgot to say that.
Groovy. Someone's in my fruit cellar. Someone with a fresh soul.